Welcome back to the Florida Gators Dynasty. Today, we're going to finish up the rest of Season 1. As you all know, we match where we are in real life. Every team has the same record as what they do heading into this weekend. So we're going to finish up Season 1 in this episode. We're going to play the final 3 games. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and really start building this team in next offseason and put our own spin on this and see if we can rebuild the Gators to a national champion. As you all know, we're not going to show every game in this series as we rebuild them. We're looking to have about 3 games an episode. We'll have some highlights and some without highlights. This one here is one we didn't have highlights for. We ended up dropping it 38-17. It just wasn't close enough to bother showing it off, in my opinion. LSU secures the victory, and their player of the game was Garrett Nussmeier. He was absolutely incredible in this. He threw for 318 yards, 4 touchdowns. He hit 85% of his passes. He was almost unstoppable. His offense was basically our kryptonite until the fourth quarter when they really took their foot off the gas. And we did end up starting DJ Lagway in this game. I talked in our debut episode that I probably wouldn't play him. Well, they expect him to play this weekend, so he played. He ended up with 2 touchdowns, no picks, but he threw 61 times. That was far too many. Things just didn't really go our way. We had a good day on the ground from Jaden Baugh, or actually, that was Montrell Johnson. He wasn't great, but he did okay. Through the air, it was Eugene Wilson III doing fantastic things for us. He's somebody that we're hoping to be able to count on into the future, but we got to make sure he doesn't transfer away. He does have a deal breaker, and that's one of my concerns. Arliss Boardingham, our tight end, also had a good day. He had like 7 or 8 receptions. He's somebody that I also think we can build around. He's a young player with a little bit of upside, so we need to also keep him in the fold. He also has a deal breaker, though. That's one of our biggest concerns with this team. Are we going to be able to keep them together? Because some of our best young players have deal breakers that are going to be pretty hard for us to meet, and I'm afraid we're going to have to try to convince them to stay in the offseason. And that's just not a path forward that's going to be very successful for this team if we constantly have to worry about players leaving and transferring away. But Week 1 didn't go great on the field, but off the field, we were able to get a commitment. We got free safety Lonnie Nash to come in. That'll help us out. We need help at safety going into the future. We do have Jordan Castell, another young player that I really want to build around there. But once again, he has a deal breaker, and I didn't want to risk it, so I wanted to bring in another young safety. As we break away from reality, we're going to start looking at top 25. You can already see Texas lost and Oregon lost this week, so that's going to make things really be different, along with SMU dropping to Boston College. That changes how the college football playoff rankings are going to go. We're also going to get to see at the end of this episode what teams the CPU thinks will be able to get into the playoffs from here on out. With just 3 games left on most teams' schedules, it'll give us a good little hint on what the College Football 25 thinks the playoff teams will be. Either way, in our next game, we're taking on Ole Miss, and this game we're actually going to spectate a little bit. This is the one I decided to jump into, and we ended up watching this game, which is another way I may do a few games in this series. I'm really trying to throw a bunch of darts at the wall and see what you guys like. For the most part, I plan on playing the games, but I also want the ability to just see our team play, because this series isn't really about the user being great. It's about me building a national championship team with the Florida Gators and returning them to greatness. But think a little bit of how like Bordeaux does his rebuilds, where he jumps in and he plays some games, but he doesn't control them in every game. I think that's what I want to do, but when I don't play the game, I think I want to spectate it, so that way if something crazy happens, I can show off the highlights of the game at least. I still plan on playing at least 8 games probably a season, and then I likely will play the playoffs. Maybe even a few play the moments in the other 4 games that I don't play, where we'll slow sim, but I'll jump in and play the moments. That's another option. I'm just trying to figure it out and throw darts at the wall. This game ended up being a really good game, though. It's 7-3 at halftime against one of the better teams in the nation. With the upset of Oregon, they ended up moving all the way up to number 4, and then beating Georgia just shows how good they are, and somehow we're competing in this game with negative 43 rushing yards. Now, a lot of that is from sacks. DJ Lagway was getting hit left and right, and we open up the second half with the ball, and that's Trey Wilson III going to the house. Touchdown, Florida. That right there is going to give us the lead over the number 4 team in the nation. That's exactly what the Florida Gators need, and that is going to give us a lot of confidence going into the future here, that we have the right pieces in place with this young team. Now we just need to see if we're able to keep Ole Miss in check like we have all game, as Jackson Dart's going to fire one down the field, and we left him wide open, man. That's going to end up being a quick answer there for Ole Miss. The Rebels retake the lead 14-10 in this ball game with Jackson Dart's big play down the field. Unfortunately, it looks like the Rebels have another opportunity to extend their lead up, as Dart's going to fire deep once again, and he has his tight end wide open, man. That's a touchdown. Asa Turner, the senior safety, ended up getting burned. That's number 20 there. That's a big play for Ole Miss, and they just gave themselves a 2-score advantage. But with 4:16 left in the game, we're going to go to the RPO game and find Arliss Boardingham, who is knocked down at the 1-yard line. We ended up losing Kania Harris, the starting guard, to injury on that play. We'll see how much that affects us, as it's 3rd and goal here at the 1-yard line. We got to see if we can punch it in. We need a touchdown here, and we go to Daniels, and that is a touchdown. Big play here for the Gators. They take and get themselves a little bit closer here. They're going to have to hit the 2-point conversion in order to be able to make this just a 3-point ball game. Let's see what Coach Billy Napier has drawn up here. He ends up coming out with 5 wide receivers. That gives DJ Lagway the opportunity to be able to run as he's on the move, and unfortunately, he can't get that pass away. Nothing comes out of that one. It's going to be a 5-point ball game now. We need a stop with 2:24 left in the game. It's 3rd and 7, and Jackson Dart's going to find an open receiver and get the first down there. So with 2 minutes left in the ball game, we need to get some stops as Henry Parrish gets another first down for the Rebels. That really puts us in a real bad spot here. Luckily, we didn't have to use a timeout as he went out of bounds. So once again, we just need to stop him. Parrish, he goes down. That's a big play right there. We use our first timeout. 2 timeouts left, 2nd and 6. Back to the ground game, and we bottle him up. Desmond Watson forced him into traffic. That worked out great. 3rd down and 5 now. We got one more timeout, and we're going to be able to use it and get the ball back as we get that stop. Now, I was expecting the Rebels to go for 3 and take an 8-point lead, but they decide to go for it on 4th and 2. So this is a huge play right here. They go to Henry Parrish, and we are all over that. That is a big play in a TFL. That's going to give our offense the ball back, only needing a touchdown to win this ball game. I still don't know why the Rebels didn't go for 3 there. Sometimes I think analytics have made coaches dumb, as that's going to be a quick check down for DJ Lagway. 2nd and 3 here. He's looking to pass. He has a receiver down the field, but that was a bad throw. It was nearly intercepted, bringing up 3rd down and 3 for Lagway. He's going to convert to Arliss Boardingham, who gets out of bounds. That's a big play. Minute 32 left in this ball game. Feeling pressure, Lagway takes a sack. That's Princely Umamiel, the former Gator, getting him down. That might just put this game away as we check it down again, and it's going to be 3rd and long here. Luckily, Walter Nolan got hurt, but 3rd and 17 is going to be hard to convert as Lagway, feeling pressure, takes another sack. Minute 11 left. We got a rush, and it's 4th and 25. This is basically a Hail Mary shot here in hopes that we can somehow get it. I don't know if we'll be able to, as Lagway's just going to stand in there, throw it, and it's swatted down. That's going to end your ball game. The Gators end up dropping this one. They nearly had the upset that they were looking for today. They dropped 21-16, though. Ole Miss was really good in this game. You got to give a lot of credit to Jackson Dart with 346 yards, 2 touchdowns. He hit 75% of his passes. They were very good. They nearly doubled up our offense. We did a lot of things poorly on the ground, which is one of the issues I have with slow simming games, I noticed. I want to know if you guys have noticed that as well, where QBs take a ton of sacks and you lose a bunch of rush yards. And honestly, we haven't had a lot of success running it in this style of gameplay from any of the series I've tried to run on channel, so I'm really curious if I'm even going to be able to do this. I really want to not have to play every game, but I may have to play every game and just, you know, skip around, not show games if they're not good, like what we did with LSU. Our defense had a pretty good day today, though. I gotta say, holding the Rebels down is a big accomplishment. A lot of young players making plays here, and I'm excited to get a lot of these guys back. One of my biggest concerns, though, is if like a guy like Tyreek Sapp, who might be able to go pro, will go pro, or if we're gonna, of course, the transfer portal is another option. But I think we have players that if they come back could make this team probably at least a 9-win team next season. I think we have the talent, especially if we do well enough in recruiting. And I do intend on hitting the transfer portal pretty hard in the offseason, because I think that's the only way we can jumpstart this program, and I do believe that's what the Florida Gators have to do in real life. We're rocking with Billy Napier, and honestly, I'm going to allow it to where if we suck next year, he's going to get fired, and we're going to hire a new coach and try to win a title that way. As I've stated, we're going to try to make this kind of, in a way, a realistic rebuild, because I want to know how far away the Gators are from being able to win a national title. I don't expect to be able to do it next year, but I think we could potentially be a fringe playoff team. Either way, next up, we're going to take on the Florida State Seminoles. They haven't had the season they're hoping for, but they did win their games so far since we started simulating in the file. Honestly, I don't think they will, but the game still rates this team pretty highly, so they're going to be a tough opponent in this one, and I'm not looking forward to taking them on, because I do believe this is a game that we could easily lose, even though we should win this one, and I do expect the Florida Gators to win this one in real life. Either way, we're at the Doak for this game, so it's going to be tough, and I decided in this one we're not going to go ahead and show any highlights. I just want to get this season over. This episode's going to be a little shorter, and we ended up dropping it like I predicted, 28-10. We couldn't do anything, man. Their defense was incredible, and honestly, I expected their defense to be better in real life, but they just never performed quite up to the expected standard of their team this year. I will say in this game, DJ Uyunglele was basically unstoppable, man. He ended up getting the player of the game, and he hit 96.2% of his passes. He literally had one incompletion. He's not this good in real life, and I don't think he'll ever have a game like this in his life, to be honest with you. Both offenses, though, were pretty putrid in this game. There was really nothing to be excited about from this one. It was just a whole lot of bad football that the Seminoles were able to pull away and come out on top at the the end when we started going for it late. DJ Lagway struggled a little bit in this one. He went 12 of 22. He didn't have any turnovers, which is good, but our offense just couldn't get going. We took too many sacks once again, but Eugene Wilson III again was a beast for this team, and he is somebody that I'm so excited to build around going into the future, and I think that that kid could be a superstar. The biggest problem is he's looking like he might want to enter the portal, so that's going to be something we have to look at in the offseason. And honestly, I'm noticing a lot of guys are likely to enter the portal. I'm seeing as many as 15 players who currently aren't happy right now, and I sure hope we don't end up losing all 15 guys, because if we do, that's really going to put a devastation on this team as we try to rebuild it. Now, looking at FSU, they did a lot of things really well in this game. Like I said, DJ Uyunglele was absolutely incredible. We couldn't stop Patrick Payton, and honestly, he's a great player, so I'm not surprised, but he single-handedly took over the game on defense, and he just made it impossible for us to do anything. Marvin Jones Jr. also had a great day against us. He had 3 sacks, but he wasn't quite as impactful in the run game. Now, we had Asa Turner get player of the week in the SEC with his 10 tackles, but I'm not that excited about that, especially considering that it came off of a loss. We also got a commitment from 4-star outside linebacker JJ Lehman. We'll be able to look at him here in a minute. And your Heisman winner ended up being Jalen Milroe of Alabama. With the losses earlier this year, I don't see a way that he's able to get back in it and actually win the Heisman, but hey, he was able to do it in game, so we'll take that as, you know, kind of what it is. And then also, we didn't get to fire our coordinators. I made a mistake here, and I sim passed the conference championship week without firing them. So we're stuck with the same guys for another year. I'm pretty disappointed in that, and definitely a little frustrated that I did it, but you know, it is what it is. We're just going to have to live with it and move on. Now, we're going to jump into our signing day class and take a look at some of the guys we did and didn't get. We're starting off showing the guys in the background that we didn't get, and honestly, in the future, I won't do this, but this year I wanted to show it off because we really struggled to recruit, and we actually lost quite a bit of our targets to rival teams. So we're going to end up having to take these guys on, and there are quite a few players that are actually really good, so I'm not looking forward to not being able to have them on our team. Now, the guys we did get, I think we did all right. I just don't think our class is very big yet. We're going to start off with Mike Tripucka, right outside linebacker, 6'5", 262. He's a 5-star. He has 86 speed, and he has star dev, so I think he might have a high ceiling, and he's somebody we'll be able to build around. Next up's Terrence Figueroa, right end. He's a 4-star, and we're excited about him, but our best recruit is CJ Willett. He has elite dev, and he has all sorts of mental abilities and physical abilities. He's 5'10", 238 pounds. He's built like a power back, but he has 96 speed. This dude's going to be incredible. We also got another elite dev halfback in Haywood, but honestly, behind Willett, I just don't expect him to make that big of an impact for this team. And I'm just so excited to get Willett in here. He's going to be awesome. And then we got another big one. It's Kenyon Matlock. He also has elite dev, and he plays defensive tackle. He's a 5-star, and he's somebody that we really need to get in here because we have one defensive tackle returning next year, and he's somebody that's strongly considering entering the portal. So we really have to watch out and make sure we don't lose him. And if we do, we're going to be in some serious trouble. And I don't know what we'd be able to do at the position if we didn't land such a good player. Either way, that's it for recruiting for now. You can look at the guys as we went through. Those were the big guys we brought in so far. We're still targeting some quarterbacks and other depth pieces, but I think the transfer portal is going to be huge this offseason. Now let's take a look at how the playoffs shook out. The number 1 seed's Tennessee, 2's Oregon, 3's Colorado, and 4's Boise State. Now I do think that's a little crazy. I don't think Tennessee will win the SEC, and I'm not sure Colorado will win the Big 12. They're really good, and they might be able to do it, but I think they still have to have some upsets happen in order to get to the title game. Now, Boise State winning out, that doesn't shock me. Oregon, I'm not shocked by that either. You look at the 5 seed, it's Ohio State. Makes sense. Look at the 6 seed, it's Notre Dame. Unfortunately, that makes sense. Look at the 7 seed, it's Ole Miss. Makes perfect sense. Look at the 8 seed, you got Miami. Makes sense. Look at 9, it's Georgia. Wouldn't shock me even though they're outside of the playoffs right now. I think they could find their way in. The weird one to me is the 10 seed, though. That's South Carolina. I got to be honest with you, I don't think they're going to be able to find their way into the playoff. And then at 11, it's Alabama. I could see them getting in. And then finally, Clemson rounds out the bracket. And you know what? It wouldn't shock me if they got in either. But I think they're going to face a long, hard path to be able to get there because of their losses this season. I don't even know if they're going to get to the ACC title game to have a shot getting in. I think in this situation, they won the ACC, and that's how they got in, and that's the only reason they got in, but either way, it doesn't matter. I'm excited. Next episode, we're going to see who wins the national title, and then we're going to do our complete off season, and then we'll get to building this team in our own image and playing games next season. Like I said, expect 3 to 4 games an episode. There might be some that we highlight, plays from. There might be some we go really in depth in. There might be some we show basically nothing from. Just show you the box score, talk about what happened, and move on. We want to move it at a pretty quick pace in this dynasty. I don't want to be like a traditional feeling episodic series. I want this to be a little bit quicker, and I want us to be able to get through seasons pretty quickly. That's the goal anyway. We'll see what ends up happening because I'm hoping to be able to do more rebuilds after this one. Either way, I want to thank you for watching. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it if you did it right now. I'm LDJ11. I want to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. I'm out.